This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and this is the Samsung Galaxy Tab. This is a 7-inch Android tablet, and then you may have seen this on the net for the overseas versions that are available in Europe. This is the first US version. This is the Sprint model. I'll show you here. White back, obviously. Gloss back front. And this is going to be available on all 4 major US carriers. That means T-Mobile, Verizon, Sprint, and AT&T. Only AT&T hasn't announced the availability date yet. This will be available on November 14th on Sprint, and it's also coming this week on T-Mobile and Verizon. Verizon will offer it unlocked without a contract for $5.99. Sprint's offering this for $2.99 with a contract. So across all 4 carriers, the features are the same. This has a 1024 by 600 pixel 7-inch display. It's the same resolution as most netbooks these days. It has a 1 gigahertz Hummingbird processor made by Samsung, the same that we've seen in the Galaxy S smartphones, a very fast processor. It runs Froyo 2.2 operating system, and it has TouchWiz 3.0 on top. So in a way, this is kind of like a giant Samsung Galaxy S phone. That's the fascinating Verizon, the Vibrant on T-Mobile, and so on. But there's obviously a lot more to the experience once you make the device this large. The European versions can make phone calls over the cellular network. The American versions cannot. This is only for data. Of course, you can use VoIP applications, but you're not going to be able to make cellular calls. Hence, these are bundled with data-only plans by the US carriers, including Sprint. It has strong similarities to the Galaxy S phones. In fact, here it is next to the 4-inch display of the Samsung Galaxy S, known as the Vibrant on T-Mobile here. Same buttons down below. These are a little bit more contrasting, easy to see, thank goodness, when the backlighting is off. Now we're comparing to another Android tablet. Here on my left we have the Dell Streak that's available on AT&T. This is a 5-inch Android tablet that can also make phone calls. Obviously, potentially you could hold this to your head, and in fact that I do, and you can make phone calls with that, but you don't have the incredibly large display or quite the same resolution. So let's take a look at the device. Up here we have an ambient light sensor, and we have a front-facing video conferencing camera that you'll be able to use with quick service in the future. On the back we have the main 3 megapixel camera with LED flash, not a super high resolution camera. Your volume controls are over here, power switch, and here's the micro SD card slot right here underneath the little door. It comes with a 16 gig micro SD card, and it has about 1.5 gigs of available storage for internal memory for you to use. Here on the bottom we have the 30-pin connector. This does not use a standard micro USB connector because there are other peripherals you can use with this device, like HDMI out, for example. Little stereo speakers down here. Nothing here except for a microphone, which would be handy for VoIP. And the 3.5mm jack is up there. So the device has an accelerometer. In fact, the home screen switches as well. And it's quite fast overall. Take a look at your applications here. This has been customized with Samsung's TouchWiz, so you don't see the infinite scroll style of the Froyo application drawer. You go sideways, and these guys are arranged in alphabetical order. So here you can see the background pattern is actually subtly masked behind your application screen here. A nice little pretty UI touch from Samsung. And applications here, you have your standard Google apps. You've got Google Maps, Google Navigation, the Android Market and all of its goodness, the Gallery application, Google's News program, the YouTube player, and all that. Since this has Froyo, it actually has full flash player 10.1, so you don't have to watch just mobile YouTube videos. You can watch flash anywhere you want, and you can watch full flash on YouTube. Take a look at the home screen. This is a 3-page home screen here, as you can see. We've got the usual Samsung widgets. If you've seen the Galaxy S phones, they're the same here. We've got the social networking for Twitter, MySpace, and Facebook. One of the nicer social networking widgets we've seen from a manufacturer. The daily briefing gives you your weather, finance news, AP Mobile, and it'll show you anything you have in your appointment here for your schedule. Google search with voice search right here. And then the quick little launcher here for email browser and your applications. Samsung has done a beautiful job of customizing the PIM applications. This isn't just your basic Android cell phone experience here. We're going to take a look at the calendar first. Now that's one awesome, nice calendar, right? So you can see all of my appointments are here, and it's not just Greek text. You can start to read the beginnings of what the appointments say. Today is circled and highlighted in color. You've got the agenda view over here, day, week, month, and list views, and a today view for appointments as well. If you tap over there, it'll show you whatever this entry is. And there's the week. And there's the day view. Back to month view for a minute. And if you switch it that way, the view changes as well. And then you've got a picker for all of your months over here. So really awesome calendar. Like that a lot. Likewise, we're now looking at the contacts view, and this is something that's been enhanced from the Galaxy S phones as well, and it's far superior to anything we've seen on an Android phone-based device right here. You've got your list of contacts here. When you tap on one, you've got all the information you need to know, and then any history in terms of interaction with that individual. You can have groups, and then you've got your favorites over here, courtesy of Google's Favorites feature. And you can likewise view this in landscape mode as well, though we prefer portrait mode for the contacts view. So awesome, really sweet. And it sets it apart from other Android tablets that we've seen on the market, 7-inch ones that are available overseas now from ViewSonic and Arcos, for example. Samsung has done a really nice job customizing the software for this device. And speaking of Samsung customizations, we have the Media Hub here, which is also available on the Galaxy S phones, but it's a lot more fun to use it on a screen this size. This competes in a way with iTunes. You can buy and rent movies and TV shows, and here you see the interface, and you can scroll through some suggestions. If you have purchased or rented anything, it'll show up in My Media. Take a look at the movie store. You can go by editor's picks, top 10 movies, gift ideas, and genre. Also works obviously in landscape mode, so we'll just take a look at that. And you get a summary, and you can choose to buy it for $10 or rent it for $3. And Samsung Media Hub works across devices. You can also use this with Windows computers. And if you have a phone, you can use the same media with phones. I believe it's up to 6 licenses per purchase. Next, we'll take a look at Multimedia here. They did a nice job again with the music player too. They did a nice job of customizing the Galaxy S phones as well, but here they have some more room to work with. So, and we've got some tunes laid on here. And that's how they're listed by alphabet. You can go by album, set a playlist, by artist, and by genre. So I'll just pick. So the music fires at the bottom. You can obviously use your headset with this too. Speaker quality is really good on this. Pretty good. And it did a good job of picking up the album art as well. Let's take a look at watching some movies that we've stored locally. So now we're going to look at a fairly challenging movie. This is almost 2 meg per second bitrate. It's a very high quality video, and it's about 650 by 320 pixels or so. It obviously look very good. This is a really lovely display. It's not Super AMOLED. They can't make a display that large using that technology, but it's still quite beautiful. And right now we do have it cranked up to max brightness. You probably don't want to run it at max brightness all the time because I'm sure it's going to impact battery life. Speaking of battery life, we haven't had this long enough to say exactly how good battery life is going to be. The battery is sealed inside. This is not something where you pop the battery out like you do with the cell phone, but we expect there's probably a pretty good sized battery in here, especially because this thing weighs almost a pound. It's 13.8 ounces. And now we're going to look at another video. Lower bit rate, but brighter, so you can see the screen a little bit better. And this is actually a QVGA video stretched out. It's still looking pretty good on display, surprisingly. Other applications include some Sprint bundled apps. They didn't put a lot on here though. You've got your usual Sprint zone over here, and you've got the Sprint hotspot, and you can use that to turn this into a wireless access point for other devices like a laptop computer. Given that this already acts as something of a laptop replacement, I'm not sure how often you're going to need that, but it's nice to have that option for an additional monthly fee. And we have Think for Your Office over here. This is a full version. It lets you also create MS Office documents. You got the home view here, which is the introduction. Recent docs, my docs. We don't have a whole lot on here. If you want to create something new, just choose whether you want Word, spreadsheet, presentation. Haptic feedback, by the way, on the screen there, and obviously auditory feedback. And there you start using the giant on-screen keyboard to entering text. And here are your formatting controls up here. Also works in landscape mode, and given how the size of your hands and how coordinated you are, you could actually almost sort of touch type with this. But there is swipe here as well for those of you who love swipe. So that's Think for Your Office. With tools like that, this can almost be a laptop replacement on the road. Now we're going to take a look at the web browser, which does again have full native Flash support, or you can choose to work with mobile YouTube when you want to too. And we start off with the Google homepage, and we're going to visit, as usual, our own homepage. And yes, you can turn down the volume of that if you don't like to listen to loud clickies all the time when you type. This is over Sprint's EVDO Rev-A network, 3G. And there we've got it, Flash ads and all. So here we've got pinch zooming, landscape and portrait support. And yes, the Flash plugin can sometimes slow it down. I'm going to take a look at our MyTouch 4G review so you can see it play an actual Flash video in Flash format rather than the mobile version. Alright, so here we have one of our video reviews. And we are playing it in native Flash format over EVDO Rev-A. You'll have better success if you turn on Wi-Fi if you don't have a good, strong signal. Speaking of signal, this has quite good reception. This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and this is the T-Mobile MyTouch 4G. Yet another entry into the MyTouch line from T-Mobile. Your browser has quite a few options, including an independent brightness setting, print options. Here you have settings for opening a new window, blocking pop-ups, loading windows, controlling JavaScript, enabling plugins, and particularly interesting, if you choose plugins, you can do on demand. Particularly useful if Flash is slowing you down. Now we're going to take a look at some games real quick. Alright, now we're going to try out the game Reckless Racing, which is a game I downloaded from the Android market. And this uses on-screen multi-touch controls. Wrong way, and spin a little bit, and then cut back. So it looks pretty good. It doesn't quite fill up the whole screen, but it runs just fine despite the unusually high resolution of this display. So that's the Samsung Galaxy Tab, the Sprint version, available in the US soon. It's obviously a beautiful device. The hardware is top-notch. It's one of the nicest Android tablets that we've seen to date. Do you need one of these? That's really up to you. It's a 7-inch tablet that can stand in for a computer for some purposes. Obviously, it does not do phone calls, so you're going to have a data plan for this and another line of service just for this device, if it's worth it to you, only you can answer that question. It is certainly very powerful. It's a great web browser with Flash, Office Suite, and all sorts of other good stuff. We've got the Kindle Reader here, and you can download other ebook readers. It makes a nice ebook reader given the nice high-quality display. However, it's a very reflective display, so there's a lot of glare that may bother you when you're reading. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Visit our website for the full review of the Samsung Galaxy Tab on Sprint.